All right, today is Monday, August 1st, 2022, and as of today, I have been on HRT for officially 4 years. I took my first dose of HRT, spironolactone and estradiol, on August 1st of 2018. The day before that, I had just left my support group that I was attending once a week, and I was rushing to get to Target because their pharmacy closed at 9 o'clock. And miraculously, I made it there with only 2 or 3 minutes to spare right before the pharmacy was closing. But I was able to get my medications because I had planned to record a video the next day. I was living with roommates at the time, so I ended up recording my first video in my car, of all places, because my roommate, who was a flight attendant, he was a homebody. And my other roommate, I think no, she wasn't there at the time. She was away. But he was a homebody and he was there most of the time. So I needed privacy to record my video because I wasn't out to anyone at the time. So I drove to the train station, which wasn't busy at the time. It wasn't too far from where I lived, and that's where I recorded my video. Here's some of it.
Guess what? I'm starting hormones today. Yes, I am. Where should we start? Let's see. Well, today is Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. What better day to start than on the first of the month? I know, right? Okay, well, last month's recap, I did do cryo, I can't say it right, sorry. I did do cryopreservation, which is freezing sperm. I was able to do that last week. I had to do some more blood work too. Spiro is a diuretic. I will be on that. That's part of my drug regimen. And it causes you to urinate a lot, I know. The first, I think, maybe 2 to 3 weeks of being on it. And, being at work, having to go to the restroom a lot, that might affect things too, my performance at work. And I'm worried about that too. And not being too obvious because I haven't come out to anyone. No one knows what I'm doing. It's just something that I have to do alone right now. Eventually, I'm going to come out. I just haven't got to that place yet. But this is it. This is the big day. August 1st, 2018. This is actually Target Pharmacy, but I guess they're affiliated with CVS somehow. We'll start with my first dosage with my pill case here. Inside I have the estradiol, the Spiro, and my biotin supplement, which is also sublingual. I can dissolve it. It dissolves in my mouth, which is very helpful. So, this is it. The start of HRT. Before I take my first dose, I just want to say that I've given this a lot of thought, and I've thought about my life, and I know who I am now. I'm learning who I am, and the last 3 months I've done extensive research on this and deciding whether or not this is actually something that I would want to pursue. And I've come to this decision that I have to do it. You only have one life, you only live once. Life is pretty short when you think about it. And it's better to live an authentic life. And that's what I'm doing. And I know things are going to be challenging at times, but I know that God will see me through this. And I know eventually it's going to yield the results that I've always wanted, and I'll feel more complete. So, without further ado, estradiol. It doesn't really have a taste to it. It's not dissolving really fast. Maybe I should have taken it last. I don't want to, record and you're just watching me with take pills. This one is going to be a doozy. It's not that big, but like I said, I have trouble swallowing pills. Now for the biggie, the Spyro. I have to swallow it whole. Doctor's orders. Minty. Went down really smooth, actually, so wasn't too bad.
All right, that was me 4 years ago, back in 2018, taking my first dose of hormone replacement therapy. I wasn't out to anyone at the time, and I was quite nervous about taking that first dose because I didn't know how things would turn out or what type of reactions it would have. I put together a list of questions that I thought would be interesting to answer for my 4-year anniversary. So, the first question is, what has been the most challenging part of your transition so far? Well, I'll name two things. The first thing would be hair removal, specifically facial hair removal. I have struggled with that. I initially started doing laser hair removal 2 or 3 weeks after starting HRT. And I had done some research, so I figured that I was good to go on that. Little did I know the clinic that I was going to, she used an older laser, and I wasn't seeing the kind of results that I wanted. And I wasted 1.5 years there, wasting time and money. But I eventually found another facility that used the YAG laser, which is better for my skin type, and I immediately started to see results after going there. But COVID hit right after that, and they were closed for 5 months, so I wasn't able to do any laser on my face. And because of that, my hair started to regenerate and grow back. And I was feeling very dysphoric. Wearing a mask most of the time helped with that, but just dealing with my hair growing back didn't give me a good feeling at all. So that summer, this is 2020, she called me back and told me that they were reopening. So I was able to start doing laser again and pick up where I left off, and immediately I began to see results. I spent almost a year there getting my laser treatments, and after that I felt that she had taken me as far as I could go, that it was now time to start electrolysis. So I found an esthetician who did electrolysis. She was young. She was maybe 25-ish. She had just opened her own practice. She was fresh out of school. And I started going there. And electrolysis and laser in Colorado wasn't nearly as much as it is here in Florida, surprisingly. But I did a few months of electrolysis and started seeing more results. But with electrolysis, they remove each individual hair, so it's a slower process and takes longer. And after doing that, I relocated and stopped hair removal altogether for a while. And my hair began to grow back, unfortunately. And earlier this year, back in January, I did one electrolysis session here in Florida. And I saw some results. She did a small area in the chin area. But eventually that hair grew back not too long after. And I was pretty much back at square one. So I spent some time trying to find a place that was affordable. I launched a crowdfunding campaign to help me out with electrolysis and laser. Unfortunately, I didn't receive any donors, but I did find a place back in May where I started doing laser hair removal again, and I'm currently there now. They're offering a payment plan, so I pay every month on it, on my treatments. And they were offering a special for that month for a large area and a small area for free. So as of right now, I'm having laser hair removal on my face and the Lena Alba area, also known as the Happy Trail. That's just below the belly button in that area. And I'm seeing pretty good results from that. So I go there about once a month and I have my treatments. But if you would like to help me cover laser treatments, I would greatly appreciate that. I'll link my Venmo down here in the description of the video. I would greatly appreciate that because it is quite expensive out here, and paying for that every month is not easy at all. The second most challenging part of my transition is dating. I haven't dated much since I started my transition, and I identify as queer, as lesbian. I can appreciate, a guy who's nice looking, but as far as having romantic feelings, I just don't. I thought that might change after being on HRT, but so far it hasn't, and quite frankly, I'm okay with that. Dating has been tough. I see women that I find attractive, that I wouldn't mind having coffee with, or something simple like that. But the tricky part is you don't know if they're lesbian if you just see them out somewhere, if they're into girls, if they're bi. So when in doubt, I pretty much just leave that situation alone as of right now. And I feel that since I've transitioned, I'm not as willing to try as hard as I did when I was a guy. I think I've become more submissive in that sense. But as time goes on and, I'm getting my life in order, becoming the person that I want to be, I can do more dating in the future and see how that goes. Question 2 is, what has been the greatest lesson that I have learned so far? That would be realizing that not everyone is going to accept you. No matter how hard you try, not everyone's going to accept you or like you. But I can't let their opinions of me diminish who I am as my authentic self. If they don't accept me as being trans, as being a woman, then that's their problem to deal with, not mine. As long as you respect me, I don't ask for you to like me, but respecting me is all I ask. And we should be okay. But as far as being malicious and rude, that's where I draw the line. I don't appreciate that at all. I don't think any of us should have to deal with that. So, number 3, I don't have a question for this, but number 3 would be, in 4 years of transitioning, I've realized that I don't have to be in agreement with everything that the trans and LGBT community advocates for. There are things that they advocate for that I'm in alignment with, but there are some things that I don't necessarily agree on, and that's okay. I have my own set of values, beliefs, principles, and that is what makes me an individual. We all have that right. And we can still be supportive of each other, even if our views may differ. We don't have to cancel people or shut everyone out because of that. Because if you do that, you're going to eventually end up alone and with no one around. Because we're all going to disagree at times, and as long as we respect each other and we're kind, we can respectfully disagree on things. What are some things that you would like to see the LGBT and trans community do in the future? Accomplish. I would like to see us create our own sports leagues. As a trans woman, I feel that there's a slight chance that I might have a disadvantage over, dare I say it, biological women. And that isn't always the case because there are a lot of women out there who would definitely win when competing against me because I'm not an athletic person at all. But I would like to see us create our own leagues instead of trying to, for lack of a better word, force our way into non trans and LGBT organizations. We don't have to force our agenda on other groups that may not be as accepting as some people are, but it's better to have your own organizations or groups. That way you can set the narrative, if you know what I mean. And I don't think that's moving us forward as a community. I think it's actually setting us back in a lot of ways. And because of that, there will be a lot of people who have hatred towards us or some type of animosity. And it could lead to more violence against us, discrimination, and who knows what else. But I think by us having our own spaces, that will definitely, it has a better chance of moving us forward as a community. So, 4 years on HRT, and it's been a bumpy ride at times. My most challenging year was 2019, actually, right before the pandemic. That year, there was a lot going on in my life, and I questioned whether or not God was disappointed in me for transitioning. But my younger sister told me that she doesn't think that God's upset with me because I felt that because I'm transgender, that doesn't mean that I necessarily have to turn my back on God or religion. I'm not a religious person, but I do have beliefs, and I believe that after it's all said and done, I'm going to a better place. But I believe that God is accepting of people. I don't believe that He's this judgmental God who will shun people for being different than what society says we should be. Because God is love, and He loves and accepts all of us. That's what I believe. Whether or not we're trans, LGBT, whatever, I don't think it matters to Him at all. So back in 2019, I did start the Authentically Us podcast, which is available on all major streaming platforms if you're interested. I'm working on an episode right now with Mikkel. You probably saw the preview for it, but she's working out her traveling arrangements right now, so we were unable to finish last week. So hopefully this week, fingers crossed, we'll have that out for you and ready to go. I do enjoy doing my podcast. I wish I could devote my full-time attention to it, but as of right now, I'm not able to, unfortunately. But if you'd like to support the show, you can definitely, it's there for you to listen to and comment on and share. I also started a life coaching business last month where I can help guide other people who may be struggling. I overcame a lot in order to do it. Each person has their own separate situation, of course, but there is a way to find out what works best for that individual person, as opposed to saying that everyone has to approach something the same way in order to get the same result. That's not always the case. What else can I say? I'm thankful for these 4 years. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about life. A lot of things. And I would like to continue to learn and share what I've learned with other people. And probably my biggest regret would be spending all that time and money at that first clinic on laser treatments that weren't working for me. I'd be a lot further along with hair removal had I did a little more research than I did, because I thought I had done enough, but yeah, we are all wrong at times, so all that we can do is learn from our mistakes. So thank you in advance to wishing me a happy 4-year anniversary. Please like, comment, and share this video. I would greatly appreciate that. And everyone out there, have a great day. Stay well.